for this computer. All right, so well, welcome everyone. We welcome you to our the month of May VANOMA Spotlight, where we feature someone or some things are interested to our membership. And today we have the pleasure of featuring one of our founding members, who our most recent president, of this chapter, the first ever president of this chapter, Ken Martin. Ken said moved back to North Carolina very recently. You just heard him talking about his new place, and he was kind enough to in the middle between all his boxes down there, move the stuff out of the way and make some time for a presentation highlighting his career, his work, and his philosophy. So, like I said, Ken was a founding member of VANOMA and the first president of VANOMA. I'm currently serving as an interim, since he had to step out before his term was finished. But I have a lot of big shoes to fill, because he used to do it all. So I'm just trying to keep up. Well, without further ado, I'm going to let Ken go ahead and being constant of time, go ahead and take over and give his presentation. And at the end, we'll have some time for question and answers. Question and answering if you have those. So save your questions towards the end. We appreciate it. And go ahead, Ken.
Well, thanks everybody. It's great to reconnect. It seems like I've been gone for a long time, but it's only been like a week since we moved. But I'm happy to share some time with you to talk a little bit about my background, some of the things I'm involved with, and of course, a lot of that involves VANOMA. So here we go. I put 3 logos up there because they are 3 of the more important, most important organizations that I'm a part of that involve architecture. And I'm gonna maybe talk a little bit away from architecture and talk a little bit about some of the other organizations that I've been involved with. But here we go. So some of the little acronyms that I've been involved with or am involved with, of course, AIA, the NOMA Council, which is an organization that you're asked to join if you've been a president of NOMA, the national organization, in the past. And when your term is up, typically you're asked to join the NOMA Council, which is an advisory group to NOMA. And then there's the NOMA Foundation, which, like any other foundation, handles the money. And we are sort of a connecting arm to NOMA and fund some of their programs. They also give us money, which is something I think we need to explore. And I could talk with you later, Joel, and maybe Rama, because when you donate the money, it becomes tax-free. So the foundation is a good thing when you don't have your own foundation to look into. NCARB, of course, is a national organization that allows you to transfer or add additional states that you get licensed in to your portfolio pretty easily. Just pay a fee and fill out a few pieces of paperwork. NAAB is the National Architectural Accreditation Board. And that organization is fundamental to educational organizations or educational institutions in getting accredited. And so every 5 years, every school of architecture has to re-accredit themselves by going through a process. And I was fortunate enough to be on several of the visiting teams that go to the institutions and spend about 5 days at each institution. And you go through their finances, their hiring practices, their curriculum, their student work. It's a whole range of things that you have to examine to make sure that the school is upholding the national standards that NAAB has set for schools of architecture. Of course, I'm the immediate past president of VANOMA, as Joel mentioned. I'm also a board member of AIA Richmond. So the OBSIDIAN Group, which is the firm that I am the principal of, we were located in Petersburg, Virginia until a week ago. Now we've relocated back to the Raleigh area, licensed in several states. And we were formed in 2002. So we've been around. This is our 20th year. It was formed with Bill Davis Jr. in New York and Leon Bridges in Baltimore. And the organization was formed actually sitting around a lunch table during one of our national conventions. And I was complaining about the fact that we couldn't get projects that were of a decent size, you know, like 20 to 50 million. And both of these partners of mine were former presidents of NOMA as well. And they were having the same problem. So I said, well, why don't we joint venture or merge or do something so that our firms can attract larger projects? And they agreed. So I came up with the name OBSIDIAN, obsidian being a black mineral that's found naturally in the earth. It has undergone a lot of heat and pressure. And I thought it was pretty symbolic of what we endure as African-American architects. So my partners agreed, and so we became the OBSIDIAN Group. At one point, we had 4 offices, 2 in North Carolina, 1 in Raleigh and 1 in Fayetteville, 1 in Baltimore and 1 in New York City, which is actually where I'm from. The project types that we typically, and this is not inclusive, but all inclusive, but we do religious facilities, higher education, meaning universities and colleges. We do K through 12 schools. We do offices, corporate facilities, and my specialty particularly is pharmaceuticals. And that's been a really good market for us because it's very high paying. So currently, it's a small list of projects that we have going on. We're doing a monument plot on VSU's campus in Petersburg, and it's for Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, of which myself and Joel are both members of. We're also doing the McKinney Library conversion to museum. It's the original Petersburg Library. And we used this project last year for our Project Pipeline project. And it hasn't kicked off yet, but we're sort of waiting for them to get their funding together and to, last time I checked, they were trying to find all the owners of the property, because everybody has to agree to donate it to the city of Petersburg to become a museum. we're also doing a church project, which has been the longest project I have ever worked on. This is like the 5th year for this small project that has had so many issues with it. Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority is sort of the I don't know, partner or equivalent to Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. We're doing a renovation for their building in Raleigh. We're also doing, I call it a fraternity house, but it's really a resource center. Fraternity houses went out quite a while ago. So those are some of the projects that we're working on. And at the end of the presentation, I put together just a few photographs of some of the projects. If you care to stick around, I can share those with you. These are some images of what the monument plot is going to look like. And this is a 20 by 20 area on campus that's along the major thoroughfare on campus. And it tells the history, who the founders are, a lot of information about the local chapter, the chapter on campus, and so on. I don't know how that started, but and then McKinney Library. These are some images from the inside of the building, and it's going to be renovated. It was a library long time ago, and actually was integrated because African Americans were only allowed to use the basement level. They could not use the floors that you see here, the first floor and the upper floor. And here's where the building was given to the city of Petersburg by the owners. So if I have anything to say about my career or my life, it really is about service, giving back. I've been very fortunate to have a pretty successful career as an architect. And I've been doing this for a long time, even when I was just out of school, in terms of volunteering my time to both community and outside organizations. So as far as NOMA goes, sorry, I think I got it on automatic. So I was Southern Regional Vice President in 1998 and became national president in 2002. My involvement with NOMA started when I went to a national convention in Atlanta and just started asking questions. You know, why is this way? And why can't we consider doing it another way? And so I wound up on a board, and that led to greater involvement with the organization. As far as NC NOMA goes, I sort of resurrected the chapter in 2016. It had been dormant for quite a number of years, with most of the original members either leaving town or just sort of leaving NOMA in general. And so I decided in 2016 that we need to have this chapter become active. And so I recruited some students and some interns that were interested in the same thing and had shown some interest in moving forward. And they became my board, very much like Kelly and the rest of the group, Joel and Willie and so on, Ian and everybody else. And so we regurgitated a lot of the information that was culled from this into the future. So 2016, we started. I was chapter president from 16 to 19. And we became chapter of the year in 2020 and 2021. Now, I want to say that they were chapter of the year after I left. And I got a little, I'll say a little pushback from the current president who thought I was stealing their thunder because I gave another presentation.
Founders, and he's naming the founders, right? And I found it in the
Was that somebody in our presentation?
That was a mistake. She wasn't muted. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So, yeah, so I got a little heartburn from the current president of NC NOMA saying that I was stealing their thunder. And obviously they worked really hard and were very diligent in bringing that chapter up and continuing the trajectory upward. VA NOMA, as you mentioned, Joel, the immediate past president, I led the project pipeline effort last year, assembling all the kits and sending them out to all the students. We did get NOMA chapter of the year this year, and well, last year and this year, and we became a 5-star chapter, which was great. So, you know, I thought that Virginia is too large. And so I took the same concept that we used in North Carolina and applied it to Virginia and broke up the state into 5 regions. Well, 4 regions, sorry. So it's been the kind of thing that I think is more manageable, having different regions that can be somewhat autonomous in their operation, but we would all come together eventually, maybe during an event, and share what's been going on in each of the chapters or each of the sections in the whole chapter of VA NOMA. So you have student chapters as well in different parts of Virginia, and every school of architecture has a NOMAS chapter as well. So I'm happy that things are developing in a way that makes sense, that can be duplicated, and so far so good. That's about all I can say. So as far as the AIA goes, I'm on the executive committee of Richmond AIA. I'm on 3 different Virginia committees, the Joint Legislative Committee, which looks into laws and how they're being made in the state legislature and how we can influence them, or if they're not good legislation, try to scratch them. I'm also member of the JEDI committee, which is Justice, Equity, and Diversity and Inclusion. And their goal is basically to make sure that there's fairness in all of the dealings with either firms or with business. Being that K through 12 schools is one of our main goals, I'm on the schools design and construction committee. Also helped to draft the MOU between AIA Virginia and VA NOMA, which we have a national MOU, and we developed that during my tenure as president. And we just tweaked it somewhat to be used on the state level. As far as AIA North Carolina, I was co-chair of the diversity committee some time ago. I was on the board of directors, and the Raleigh section, I was secretary for that section. NAAB. So this was one of the fun organizations that I joined that really had a very strong influence as far as architecture goes. I was on the visitation teams in March of 2008. We visited University of Detroit, Mercy, and reestablished their certification at that university. In October of that same year, we went to Tuskegee University, and they had actually lost their accreditation, and we helped to reestablish it. So I was on the team to do that. Then I got a really nice perk, and I was asked to be on the team to go to the University of Hawaii. So, you know, the smart thing to do is to extend your trip so you can stay there, you know, longer and enjoy the area. And I think I did it for a day, but it was really great to be there. And the weather, of course, is perfect, and the scenery is perfect. So got to do a lot while I was there. And then they made, I guess they figured I had enough experience, so they made me the team chair for our trip in 2013 to the University of Oregon. And I'm a former track man, and a lot of track happens at the University of Oregon. If you know anything about track, I got down and kissed the track, so that was my homage to the University of Oregon. Career of service beyond architecture. And there are several groups that I have become pretty involved with. One is Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, as I mentioned. And those of you who are not familiar with African-American fraternities, they extend beyond college. They have alumni chapters as a separate branch, as a separate branch of the experience. And so this new Lambda chapter in Petersburg is an alumni chapter, and we do most of our work after you graduate from college. So I'm vice president of that chapter. I guess I will be vice president until August, when my tenure is up. So I'm also founding president of the 100 Black Men of America, which is basically a mentoring organization. It mentors young disadvantaged kids. I had an idea to start something that would involve kids, searched on the internet, found the 100 Black Men National Organization, and decided to start a chapter in the Raleigh area, which extends from Raleigh all the way to the coast. And that organization is still going strong. They've invited me back for the 10th anniversary, and they had a little celebration, and that was nice. And now they've started a President's Council, which I'm a part of, and now that I'm back in Raleigh, I can become reconnected with the 100. And I'm the founding president of the African American Cultural Festival of Raleigh-Wake County. And that is a entertainment kind of organization. And it was originally established in the city of Raleigh, or by the city of Raleigh and Wake County, to help African Americans celebrate their culture. And so every year we have different groups of different musical genre. So we have spoken word, jazz, rock, R&B. So all kinds of music are celebrated, and there are two stages that are physically placed in the downtown mall area. And the streets are closed off, so it's only pedestrian. And there are roughly 10,000 people who visit each day during the Labor Day weekend. And it used to be sponsored by Raleigh and Wake County, but we've become self-sufficient now. So we just, it's free to the public, but we have sponsors that graciously donate money and for rights to publicize their companies and so on. But this has become a major event, and we have a lot of people who come to the event from Virginia. So during my tenure as president, that was a big thing, that we were enticing people from out of state to come to our event. I'm a member of the Historic Petersburg Foundation, and what that does is that organization solicits different buildings in the old Petersburg area, which is basically downtown, and it gives credit vouchers to those individuals or organizations that donate property, and so they get tax breaks on those properties. And so we go in, we renovate the buildings, and we put them back on the market, and we're able to solicit good prices. And of course, it's a 501c3, so it's a nonprofit, and we're able to pass those savings on to the sellers. I'm also a member of the Rotary Club of Petersburg, and I'm going to transfer my membership to Clayton, North Carolina, which is where I live now. Excuse me, but I've been a member of the Rotary for a few years, and we bring in speakers and talk about issues in the Petersburg area. All right, so how did I get here? The journey. So you can read the verbiage there, but introduced to architecture in the early 70s. I love to draw, and these are some examples back in the early 70s. And if you're not familiar, the one on the left is Prince Namor, the Submariner. The middle, of course, is Daredevil, and the one on the end is Conan, the Barbarian. And so I was fairly shy, was not at all outgoing, and had pretty good grades in school. So I was invited, one of a group of students, high school students, that was invited to Cooper Union College, which has a pretty dynamic school of architecture. And if you get in, tuition is free. So I attended that summer camp for 2 weeks, and it changed my life and put me on track to get into architecture. So I attended the CCNY School of Architecture because it was all that I could afford. And in fact, CCNY at that time was free. Imagine that. So I got a free education. I got a BS in architecture. After 4 years, I figured I needed to leave school. I could have stayed for the 5th year, but decided not to. And at that time, you could still get licensed having 4 years. But I graduated a little early. Whoops. Yeah, there we go. I graduated a little early. I took some extra classes during the summer and so graduated a semester early. But while I was there, I was president of an architecture organization. And at that time, our studios were, and this was in, you got to understand, this is in the time of racial equality, and organizations were pretty sort of like now. And so the university allowed us, the class, to choose our own instructors. And so, of course, we chose Latin and African American instructors for our classes, at least for our studios. And so we formed this organization called Mfanyitsa, and it's short for the creators in Swahili. And so I was president of that organization, and I guess that sort of started my trend in trying to give back. So it was called the Black and Latin Design Workshop, and we hired our own workshop instructors. And then when I graduated, I moved to Atlanta and attended Georgia Tech for Masters in City Planning. After that, I was recruited to work for the Upjohn Company. And so I moved to Kalamazoo, Michigan. And while I was there, I got involved with the Housing Board of Appeals, again, sticking my nose out and asking questions, and then sort of getting drafted to that committee by the mayor. And in '91, I started my involvement with NOMA. I also graduated from Furman University because the Upjohn Company had a tuition reimbursement thing. So I said, why not? And I didn't know anything about how to run a business. I knew I either wanted to start my own firm, which I later did, obviously, or I wanted to be a principal in a large firm. And I knew something about architecture, but nothing about business. And so I went back to school, got a degree in business administration, and felt I was somewhat equipped to start a firm. So in the 2000s, I became Southern Regional VP and then national president of NOMA, founded the OBSIDIAN Group in 2001 or 2. In 2004, I was elected to the Holly Springs Board of Commissioners, and this was sort of a big deal. They had other African-American commissioners or councilmen, however you want to call it, but I was the youngest and probably the most flexible. Holly Springs back then was a farming community, and I was maybe one of the first carpetbaggers to come into the community. And, you know, they thought they would make use of my architectural skills, so that's why they elected me. But I also sort of served as a bridge between the Black community and the white community, because they didn't have a lot of educated Black members of the community at that time. Now Holly Springs is a bustling community with everybody. During my tenure as a councilman, I went to China as a representative of the town because we had a program where we would exchange members of the community to come and visit in both communities. So, the name of it escapes me at the moment, but it was a really great trip. We were there for like 2 weeks. In 2008, myself and an Eastern Indian engineer started Hub Pro. We were finding, after going after projects in North Carolina that there was a distinct discrimination against African-American firms. And being a firm owner, I said, we need to do something about this. And so in North Carolina, they passed a bill for contractors, saying that contractors, as a goal, should get 10% of all projects issued by the state of North Carolina. And unfortunately, they didn't do anything for architects. And so we went to the state legislature, we addressed them, and we started this organization, Historically Underutilized Business Professionals. And the organization was pretty successful. We were able to go around to different municipalities, universities, and school districts, and let them know that Senate Bill 914, which is the bill that was passed, not only addressed contractors, but also applied to designers. And so we were awarded Organization of the Year by the state. And so it went on. But as a result of that, I was asked to join the Hub Advisory Committee at NC State, because they were one of the organizations that thought they were doing a great job, only to find a lot of comments from the community, especially the minority community, saying that they didn't. And so I joined that organization, was there for 2 years, I believe. From 2008 to 2013, I was on the NAAB traveling teams. We talked about that already. And then NC NOMA from 2016 to 2019. And then VA NOMA from 2019 to 2022. So that sort of brings us up to date. So I guess I'm ready for questions, if there are any.
Well, Ken, thank you. We appreciate you going through that wonderful presentation. You have accomplished quite a bit, been involved with a lot of stuff. So we appreciate you going through all that and sharing it with us. So at this time, I want to open up. I didn't see any questions in the chat, so I want to open up the floor for any questions that you might have to Ken. You can just unmute yourself, or you can put the questions in the chat and we'll read them for you.
Sure.
So you can unmute yourself and just pick up Will.
Hi, Ken. This is Andrew. I saw you guys on Facebook, VA NOMA. So I said, let me see what you guys are about. So Ken and I go way back. So when I saw he was a speaker and that he started part of VA NOMA, I just had to join in. But good seeing you, Ken.
Good seeing you, Andrew. Thanks for coming and being a part of this. As you said, we go way, way back in NOMA. And Andrew is extremely accomplished up in the New York, New Jersey area.
Yes.
President of the AIA there, and just blowing them away. I'm really proud of you, Andrew.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And start that NJ NOMA chapter was still going, and NICOB is doing their thing. So yeah, but it's good. But it's good to see a new chapter starting, and I'm glad you're part of this, man. It really is good to have Ken on board.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, blessed. Yes.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Same here, brother.
So Ken,
Sir,
what would you say? Guys like you and I have been around forever, but so what would you say the biggest changes in the industry as far as it relates to race?
ooh. All right, so there are a lot of challenges, and here we are in 2022. A lot of the challenges that we face now are very similar to what we faced, 20 years ago, or even more. I think there have been a lot of improvements. I think there certainly is a more open environment for African American architects, but I hate to say this, but there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. Hence the JEDI committee on the state level, and we've been talking with other chapters around the country that are having similar issues and trying to figure out how they dealt with them and maybe import some of those solutions into Virginia. And North Carolina, I don't believe, is any different from Virginia. I think there are some challenges there. I think, to Virginia's credit, they are putting things in action that can help to alleviate some of the problems that we face. One of the things that I think is really important for us is to establish criteria to identify what is discrimination. And is it when you don't get a call back from a client once they discover that your firm is not white, or is it that you're taken off a team because you are African American or female or Indian or some other non-white person because the owner doesn't think you're capable, or there's some latent hostility there. But I think it's really tragic that we have to have this conversation in 2022. And you and I have been around a lot, around the block a lot. So we know those things and we've experienced them probably. In NOMA as an organization is really tasked with getting past those issues, helping people who don't have all the resources that other folks have, and having a family to join. And I think that's what's really important about NOMA as an organization. We include everybody, whether you're straight, gay, black, white, yellow, green, orange, purple, whatever. We're a very inclusive organization, and working with the AIA versus against AIA, we've come to advance some principles and make them aware of some things that maybe they weren't. It's like, and I'll say this for just a moment, NOMA was founded by some gentlemen and their wives because a Black activist spoke way back in the 60s at an AIA conference, and they thought he was going to be all peaches and cream, and he came out and said, when I look around this room, there are only a few non-white, non-elderly, non-male people in the room. And they were astounded that he would sort of call them out on their shortcomings. And so after that conference, they got together and said, he's right, we need to correct this. And so a lot of organizations and a lot of initiatives started because he stood up and called them out. So that's sort of a long-winded answer to your question, man. But I appreciate the question.
And
Yes.
this is Rhea George, and I would just first like to say thank you for all the incredible contributions you've made to the Virginia architecture community. We're so sad to be losing you, and we hope that you'll continue to stay connected with us. But
Yes.
I'm curious, sort of a pretty common question, but I think the answers are always really interesting, is, what piece of advice would you share or did you receive as an emerging professional young designer that had a big impact on you and that you think others should be aware of?
Wow. We could probably discuss that all day. I think perseverance is probably one of the main things that budding architects need to embrace. You're not going to be given a whole lot in our profession. You have to earn it, and you have to get over the bumps in the road that naturally happen, but you have to stay the course. And I would say the same thing for those who are in our profession, minority or otherwise, who are looking to become licensed. You're going to get a lot of adversity. You're going to be faced with a lot of diversity. But you got to stay the course. You have to persevere. So I think you need to buckle down. You need to have a good support mechanism, be that other members of NOMA, or just form a support group that can help you get through these times that are going to come, and they're going to be rough, but you've got to get through them. I think that's probably the best advice I could give. You have to persevere and get a good support mechanism. For some, it's their wives or husbands. For others, it's a professional organization like NOMA or AIA. But folks who can help you get through those rough times. And thanks for the question, Ria.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Kenneth, Worry Smith here. I wanted to ask you a question about that's really rooted in the diversity of the experiences that you've had over your career, and the role of collaboration. Basically, if you look back over the successes that VA NOMA and NOMA in general have had, what is the role of organizations finding like-minded organizations to collaborate with, and then also obviously getting things like diversity, equity, and inclusion involved in organizations like AIA and others? What would be your advice and recommendation on collaborating and finding those like-minded individuals out there?
Well, I think that it's very much like the last question, or the answer to the last question, and that is when you network with like-minded organizations and individuals, you get support. It's like building a foundation with reinforcement in it versus just concrete. With reinforcement, it's twice as strong, right? And I think everybody who is looking at trying to progress or trying to improve their organization's abilities to help needs to partner with other organizations who share that goal. So that's why we have an MOU with AIA Virginia, and I'm speaking of VA NOMA. That's why the national organizations have MOUs, because they're trying to accomplish the same things, but they are twice as able to do that when they partner. So if one hand knows what the other hand's doing, I think they're much more effective in getting that getting their goals met. So I'd strongly advocate looking at organizations that further your goals, and you help each other through that process. There are some organizations that when I was president of VA NOMA, that I wanted to tap, but we just didn't have the time to get there. NSBE is one organization that comes to mind that I think we need to have a relationship with, the National Society of Black Engineers. We have a lot of things in common. We can help each other. I think it's a great, I think it would be a great partnership if we could get to the leadership of that organization here in Virginia, or there in Virginia, sorry. Does that answer your question, Maurice?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, all right. Any other questions? I mean, those were great questions, great answer. So I got a question, Ken. So now that you back essentially where you moved from, what are your plans to? Because I know you can't sit down and just relax. You have to stay busy. You know.
Oh, yes, I can.
Are you planning on taking over the state over there? Like, what are your plans? As
No.
far as with the AIA or the NOMA chapter down there?
Well, certainly, you know, I've been away for 3 years. I have to see, you know, sort of investigate the landscape and see where I might be needed. I'm certainly not going to stick my nose in affairs that are not interested in my getting in there, unless there's a, you know, unless something wrong is going on, and then, you know, I sort of have to do that. But NC NOMA is on firm ground, and I think they have a great program going. So I have already extended an invitation to the president. If she wants me to be a part of it, I'm available, but I'm not going to intrude. They know what I've done. I think she came in after we sort of got started, but there are members of the board that know, you know, what I've done. And so if there's a way that I can help, I'm happy to do so. I will touch base with AIA NC, and you know, I'm interested in increasing the diversity of their boards. And frankly, I've lost touch, so I don't know how diverse they are. And you know, when I was there was myself and a white female that ran the diversity program with AIA North Carolina, but I don't know where they stand now. So that's something I'll be figuring out in the next couple of months, just sort of finding my way back into things. I'll pay a visit to the AIA North Carolina headquarters, which is a great building if you've never seen it. Very, very nice architecturally. And talk with the executive director there, who I've known for a long time, and sort of see, you know, how things are going. And if I can make a difference in some way, then I'm happy to do it.
All right, all right. Is there any other? I know we're almost hitting at. This is supposed to last for an hour, so we're almost hitting at 8 o'clock. Any other questions for Ken, or any other questions in general anyone might have? Well, hearing none. So it said there's a comment in the chat that you were part of the urban networking, which NSBE was part of, Andrew Thompson was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, we need to definitely link up with NSBE and see what I know they have a chapter here in Richmond because I worked with them before on another organization. But well, Ken, like I said, we really appreciate your time, and I know, like I said, you're still settling in down there in your new home and your new state. Well, your old state, actually. So
Old state.
You know, going back to your grounds there. But we appreciate the time, and just wanted to remind everyone that, you know, our project pipeline registration is now open. If you know any students or anyone who that you know that has young children between the ages of 6th grade to 12th grade, please direct them to our website, and they'll find the link to register. Registration is open until June 10th. So we sponsor filling include. We had 12 students already register. We had like 10 the first day and 2 registered today. So our spots are going fast. And I say, Ken, like I said, we really appreciate your time, and there was a question that says if anybody's attending the AIA conference in Chicago. I know it's happening by in June. Is that when that's happening? I'm not sure when that is, but so are you going to be there, Ken?
In June?
I don't know when it is. I'm not sure if it's in June or July. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm taking another trip in July, so probably not.
Yeah, June 22nd to the 25th. There you go. That's what that is.
Yeah, probably not. Unless my better half wants to go for some reason, to shopping, whatever, in Chicago. But I've been to Chicago many times, and it doesn't interest me as much as it might some other folks. So I'll probably leave it to other folks to go.
Yeah. I know Corey was talking about. I know he said he was gonna, since he won't be no longer the executive vice president by then, he's just gonna go and enjoy it. He's not gonna be working like he typically is. But anyway, we appreciate everyone who for joining us today. And like I said, this video will be available on our YouTube channel. You can go there and share with anyone you like. And again, Ken, we really appreciate you giving us your time, and we're definitely gonna be seeing you a lot more of you for Project Pipeline. We got that going, and hopefully we can continue to collaborate with you in the in the future. This is your your one of your baby chapters, so I'm pretty sure it's near and dear to your heart. So,
yes, sir.
So
Absolutely.
Well, having said that, if anybody else have anything else to say, we're gonna close out now. We appreciate, like I said, appreciate your time, and looking forward to our June spotlight. It's gonna be in the middle of the month. We're still working on the details. It might be Willie. I don't know if Willie. Did we commit you for that, Willie? Or is that your month?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so I'm giving you a promo ahead of time. So next month we're gonna feature Willie Clark, Willie Cooper. I'm sorry, not Clark. Willie Cooper from Clark Nixon. I'm sorry. Well, he messes up my name all the time. So.
You owed me that one.
Yeah. So Willie Cooper, from Clark Nixon. So he's as experienced as Ken. So a lot of knowledge in there. So that will be in June. We'll announce that in a few weeks. So hopefully you can join us again. And again, thank you all for coming, and enjoy the rest of your night, and enjoy happy Memorial Day weekend to all of you.
Yep. Ciao, baby.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Night.
Good night.